Hi, thank you so much for being here. I'm instructor Dwayne Jenkins, and here at Dwayne's Guitar Lessons, we're working every day at improving our guitar playing. So if that's something of interest to you, be sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for future notifications, and improve your guitar playing every day. Alright, so today's video we are working out of this book right here, Lead Guitar Wizardry Volume 1, where I learn how to play some lead guitar. And in today's lesson, we're working at lesson 33, learning solos from recordings, okay? So that, if you're not doing that, I would highly recommend you start doing that, because that is going to make you a much better lead guitar player. You might even become a lead guitar wizard. So stick around and I'll show you a few tips on how to improve your lead guitar playing by learning solos from recordings.
Audio Jungle.
So here we are talking about learning some solos from recordings. This is a very important skill to know if you're going to be able to lead guitar, a really good lead guitar player, because it takes discipline to learn solos from recordings, okay? And anytime you practice any type of discipline, it's just gonna make you better. That's all it is. If you're the kind of person that says, I don't wanna learn other people's solos, you know, you're really missing out. I guarantee it. There's a lot of benefits to learning other people's solos, okay? So I would highly recommend that if you're not doing that, start doing that. And if you're doing it, congratulations, keep doing it, okay? It's just gonna make you better. It's gonna help you with improvising, which was the last video that I talked about. And what we're gonna do is I'm gonna talk to you about some tips that'll really help you out with getting started with doing some solos from recordings, okay? So here's a few tips to develop this skill. Tip number 1. Start off with something simple, okay? Like for instance, the Beatles. They have some really good melody lines to their music. If you don't like the Beatles, pick something else, the Stones, maybe you like them, or it doesn't really matter who it is. Just pick somebody you like and try to find some simple melody, you know, that they're in one of their songs, okay? Something real simple like a... Okay, now that last part was a little tricky there, but the rest of it's all pretty simple, pretty basic, moves around the fretboard a little bit, gives you some, you know, helps develop your ear too. That's another thing that's good about it, is when you're moving around the fretboard, okay, it helps you to develop your ear, okay? So that's just an example, simple melody, something real simple, okay? Not something that you have to slow down and all that stuff, okay? But just something real basic, a few notes. I mentioned the Beatles because they got some really good simple melody lines to start with, okay? Or do the Stones, they probably got some too, or whoever it is. It doesn't matter who it is, just pick something simple, okay? Number 2. See if you can find the tabs on it and look into what techniques are being used. Are they using bends, slides, hammer-ons, pull-offs, etc.? Because the more you do this, the more your ear is going to recognize these techniques and get accustomed to hearing them and saying, oh, they're doing a hammer-on, oh, he's doing a slide, oh, he's doing a trill, oh, he's doing vibrato, you know, oh, in that solo he's doing this, or he's doing this, or he's doing this, you know, or he's doing a bend. You know, whatever it is, okay? Just make sure that you work with that, okay? Because if you find the tabs on it, then you can kind of see what they're doing, okay? You can see how they start the solo. You can see how they're kind of in the middle. You can see how they end it. Okay, that's what I'd highly recommend you learn how to read sheet music, at least tabs, at least that, okay? Because it makes a huge difference, all right? If you just play by ear, that's okay too, but if you learn to read the written word, it's just gonna make you better, I guarantee it, okay? So make sure you do that and learn how they're producing the melody with those techniques, okay? Number 3, once you have the melody down all the way through, then try to play it with the song, okay? I would learn the melody first by itself and then try to play it with the song. And you're gonna find probably more times than not that the song is going to be quite a bit faster than you thought, and it's going to be a challenge to keep up. And that's the challenge. So you take on the challenge and it's going to make you better, okay? I guarantee it'll make you better if you just stumble to your success, so to speak, you know? At first you might not be able to keep up, but if you keep working at it, you'll get it, okay? And when you do, you're going to get that sense of accomplishment, and that's what we're shooting for, is that sense of accomplishment, okay? It'll be difficult at first, but as you work at it, you will get better. It will get easier, and you will start to see how you have accomplished something special, because not everybody can do it. So that's what you want to shoot for, is things that not everybody can do, you know? Like know, of course, not everybody can do that, but if you learn how to do that, then you got something special down, okay? Number 4, once you get to the point, repeat the process with another solo, okay? Keep at it. Keep a binder. I would recommend you keep a binder of your solos, you know, print them out, you know, find the tabs, print them out, or get books, you know, get tab books, whatever it takes, okay? It doesn't really matter. Write it on a piece of paper, whatever you got to do, okay? But keep a record of it. Keep a binder. I've got a binder full of solos that I've learned over the years, so that way if I want to go back to them and relearn them, I got them right there, okay? I would highly recommend you do that, okay? Because you can come back to them later time and keep refreshing your memory, okay? So this will allow you to refer to them at a later time if need be, all right? I would highly recommend you do that, okay? Number 5, be disciplined in your study and practice, because solos, like I said, it's a discipline, all right? Especially doing other people's solos. It's really a discipline to sit there and try to go over it over and over, break it down in small little sections, you know, especially some of the solos are a little bit longer, you know, even simple stuff, you got to kind of break it down into sections and then piece the sections together, okay? And it does take a lot more study and practice, and you have to be more disciplined, okay? Now, when you're just creating your own stuff, that's a little bit different, but if you're trying to do something the way it's written, that's a lot harder, okay? Have patience with your learning, for this is a skill that not all guitar players can do, and it takes the most skilled and disciplined craftsmen to do this job, okay? And that's why lead guitar players get the spotlight. You know, that's why the wizards get the spotlight, because they have put in the time, the discipline, the study, and the practice. And that's what we're learning here at Dwayne's Guitar Lesson with this book, Lead Guitar Wizardry Volume 1, is to have that discipline, okay? Look at yourself as a craftsman who knows his tools and knows how to use them to the very best of their ability. Think about that. You know, as a lead guitar wizard, you're like a craftsman. You got to know your tools. Like a mechanic who's got a, you know, toolbox full of all these tools in there, wrenches and screwdrivers and sockets and all this stuff. They know how to use them. They know what the tools are for. They know how to mix and match them to get the job done. And in a sense, you're the same way. We are the same way as guitar players. We got to know our tools are right here. You know, the fretboard, our hammer-ons, pull-off slides, guitar licks, all the stuff we've been learning from this book. You know, that's our tools, and that's what we want to focus on, okay? And number 6, we'll say number 6, this is one that I kind of wrote extra. Now this is for later on after you've worked with a few simple solos, okay? If a solo is fast, which is very common in duplicating rock guitar wizard solos, you know, it's best to use some type of phrase trainer to be able to slow it down and loop it, okay? Or get a looper, you know, sometimes that's a good way. If you're working on a section, keep repeating it so you can just keep working on that section over and over again, okay? With today's certain technologies, it can be done quite easily. I used to have to use cassette tapes. Okay, that just goes to show how long I've been doing it. You know, cassette tapes, I'd have to play, stop, rewind, play, stop, rewind, you know, and that was very time consuming. Look, back in the day when like Jimi Hendrix and those guys are around, you know, even before that, the 50s when rock and roll first started, they had to use records. So they'd have to put the needle on the record, listen to a phrase, take it off, try to find it on the guitar, put it back on. I mean, very, very time consuming, okay? But with today's technology, you don't even have to do all that. You know, you got all this stuff with today's technology on the internet where you can slow the music down, you can loop it, you can do all this kind of stuff to help you to learn it faster, okay? And I would highly recommend you take advantage of all that technology because it'll just make you better, okay? So if you're working, once you get down the simple solos and you work at getting them a little bit better and you start getting solos that are more challenging, then what I would do is get some of that technology to loop certain sections, slow them down, and so that you can play them right, okay? All right, so there's some quick tips on how to learn solos from recordings. And like I said, if you're not doing this, I would highly recommend you start. It's just going to make you so much better, okay? Anytime you practice any type of discipline and anything you do, it's just going to make you better. And it's one of the reasons why I put it in the book, because I think it's highly important. Like I said before, 2 things you really want to master as a lead guitar wizard is number 1, being able to learn solos from recordings, okay, other people's solos, okay, and number 2, be able to improvise your own solos. You master those 2 things, you're going to be set, I guarantee it, okay, and both of them can be very hard. I've seen people be able to do other people's solos, like some of my students, I'll you know, write out a solo for them, and they'll be able to learn it, and then I'll say, okay, now improvise something, and they have a hard time with that. As where other people might have the opposite. You know, they might be good at improvising, but you know, you put something in front of them, and they have a hard time being disciplined enough to get it. So what you want to do is try to master both of those things, okay? And if you need some help with that, with your lead guitar playing, I would highly recommend checking out this book, Lead Guitar Wizardry Volume 1. You can find it on Amazon or in my eBay store, and if you buy it from my eBay store, I will sign it for you if you'd like. That way you'll have an author's copy of it. We got a few more lessons to go, and then we'll be done with it, but I would highly recommend checking it out, okay? So thanks so much for being here once again. Keep practicing. Make sure you practice every day. That's what's going to make you better. And keep watching for our videos. If you feel you got something out of the video, be sure to like it. I'd appreciate that. It really helps me out. And I will see you at our next lesson.